Okay, so welcome to the first episode of iFix Stuff. It's not actually the name of the series, but whatever. What we're looking at today is Gajumine has a couple of trivial crashes. Gajudesk has a couple also. One of them I know that we can trigger is on Windows. Well, there's some on Windows that are specific to Windows, and there's other ones that are more general. This is actually the first one here I'm going to discuss is a trivial crash that is, I'm pretty sure, just a general one. So it should happen on every platform the same way. There's a couple things specific to Windows itself, which is why I'm doing this on Windows right now. Usually I develop on Linux. So you'll see me do different desktops. Sometimes I'll be on Mac, sometimes I'll be on Linux, and sometimes I'll be on some weird variant of Linux. Sometimes I'll be on Windows. So right now I'm on Windows. It shouldn't actually matter. Anyway, let's trigger the crash. So first, I'm going to open Gajumind for the first time. Oh my goodness. Um, and I get the configuration screen. So it wants an account ID. Now, if I don't give it one, it won't really matter too much. See, I could do this, and then it works. And then if I open it again, it's right back to where it was. Okay, cool. So that works as intended. Let's get into my shenanigans wallet on Gajudesk, and we're going to take Alice's key. We're going to mine for Alice. Okay. So that's configured. I don't care about this stuff. Um, it doesn't, none of this matter. I mean, we're not really going to mine, so it doesn't matter. Um, okay. So if I click start, it's going to do a lookup. It's not going to find anything, and I'm going to get the connection errors that people have seen. Um, but nothing dies, right? Nothing die. I can open the configuration screen. I can mess with stuff, whatever. I'm just getting it can't find me because this isn't connection failure. There is no Alice, so Alice, there's no Alice to look up and test that mining pool. Okay, cool. Now, how can we crash this? If I open Gajumine and I go to configure and I have max cores 2, I'm just going to delete that completely. Empty field. Okay. Now let's try to open configure again. Boom, dead. Okay. Now this is causing an insta crash for some people. Um, so it's just one source of these, and I can pretty much guarantee. I can pretty much guarantee this because I'm not handling um, the lack of data correctly. So what we have here is Cilantro's name of this computer because I like food. Well, I like cooking. Um, so this is a Linux development environment that's inside of Windows right now. So that's why things look a little different than you might be used to. I'm at so from here, this is like the C drive, users, C Everett, app data, locals, log, QBQ, Gajumine. So we're in the Gajumine log directory. And if I do this, I see a couple logs from a couple of runs. The one that I want is going to be the most recent because that's the one that we crashed. Oop, I'm silly. Okay. 822. Okay. So we're going to look in here and we have a crasher. We have a nice little crash report, which is bad argument. Erlang, integer to list, got an argument none, which is indeed not an integer. So where does this occur? It's on line 74 of gmconf arel. So here are the source files. So gmc conf arel, line 74. What's going on? Okay, there we go. Number of procs. So what this actually needs to be is aprox, mprox. Okay, where's aprox coming from? Aprox is going to be a number. Okay, oh, these are coming in from uh, outside. So integer to list. I'm going to need to probably make a new function here. This is a pretty wide thing already. Is this too wide? Barely. Okay. All right. I'm going to make a new function that's like integer to list. Actually, let me see if I can. Uh, can I get OGBR CX. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Home C Everett data local top. How far back do we go? Oh, because Home C Everett, this is the Linux side. So actually, what I'm thinking of as home is like Windows Home. That's not a thing over here. So I'm just being silly. What I need to do is mount C user C Everett app data, all this blah 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 stuff. Got because we have to have gigantic paths here. Um, what I'm looking for is in ZX, there is a thing called ZX Lib, and I think what I've got, I think I've got an integer to list thing that's like safeified, but I guess I don't. I may have a, no, these aren't going to be. Okay. Anyway, um, what's a good check I can do? Integer to list. I to L, and then I to L n when is integer n, integer to list n. Okay. Is that a little bit hokey? Yeah, it is. It'll give me a really specific crash later, though, um, if we have this problem again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this at the bottom because it's only probably going to be used in that one spot, I think. Uh, I to L. Okay. So what should happen now is if I run this again, we'll see if I don't do anything that blows it up. Um, oh, maybe it didn't rebuild. Let's see. Uh, kill the bean files. That should rebuild when we rerun. No, it died again. So let's check why. Uh, 828. That are characters to binary. 0. What? Wait, characters to. Oh, I'm silly. You know what I did? I'm saying this is an integers to list. In other words, taking a number and making it into a string, and I returned a number, which is just another form of the same error. Because I'm a dum dum. So, all right. So what's going to happen is I need to redo that. This should be rebuilding every time I change something. It does. Look at that. Boom, 0. Max score is 0. So I set it to 0, which is obviously silly. Um, it probably should return 1, but whatever. I don't care. What happens if I delete this? I'm just curious. Ooh, same thing. Crash. Good. So found another crash before you guys did, which is good. Um, what was this one? Bad arithmetic. Oh, it's trying to probably divide by something. So geometry 118. Okay. So what's going on at 118? That's probably the setup phase here. Yep. Bytes is how many bytes divided by a gig? Oh, okay. Well, where are we pulling gigs from here? Where's that happening? Gigs is mem. Where do we get a mem from? A mem. Well, actually, you can just back search for that. Oh, it's coming in from there. So what is in a method? I wonder. Bad arithmetic would mean that it's not actually a bad argument. I'm pretty sure. Um, so whatever. I'm just gonna like take a look at it and see what it is. 'Cause I don't recall exactly what can be in there. Okay, blank, trash. All right. Now, what's the log say? 830 blank. Let's see. Function clause. Logger config. Oh, I have to log an info level. So that's just me being, ugh. I like forgot everything about how to do this while I was doing Pascal. That's the weird thing about hopping between so many languages in a couple days is I forget like the details of this library or that library or this language or that language or whatever. And it's not horrible, but it is a lot of stuff to remember. Uh, this is 8 through 9. Okay, bytes none. Oh, first time around. Okay. So the first conversion we do, we're pulling from the system. It's recognizing that I've got 16 gigs available. Okay. And then the second thing that happens here is I copy pasted somehow. That's interesting. That was Alice's key that I had pasted earlier. Okay, so bytes none, obviously none is not gonna be valid. So what we wanna, oh, that's that. Okay, what I need here, I'm just gonna add another clause because we're gonna handle the none case and say how many gigs do we have? We have 0 gigs. Whoop, look, that's another one. That is another problem that we got. Um, I was about to turn that into this is oh wait, float to yeah, so float to list means um a number comes in here as an integer. It's the number of bytes that there are total, and then we divide the total number of bytes by the number of bytes in a gigabyte, which is what this number is right here. 1 million or whoa, 1 billion. That's a lot of bytes. 1 billion something in a gigabyte. So we divide bytes by that, and then we get some new number. Just divided by that. And then we're converting it to a decimal of precision two, basically. That's what this call is, float to list. Um, but if we give it none, well, none is like a word. It doesn't matter. Like the computer, you can't, divide none by something. You know, purple plus 5 is what? You can only do that stuff in JavaScript and other insane environments. So um, here we crash, which is correct. So instead, what we want to shoot, this is for us to show to somebody. So we're going to show them a 0. And that's going to be the correct answer in that case. So let's see if that fixes the crash or not. If we click the configure button, will it crash? No, it shows a 0, 0 like it's supposed to. Good. Now, what if I leave that as the settings? Oh, cool. It shows like the max memory I'm allowing myself to commit to the what happens? Oh yeah, it's like, well, so it'll give you a default of 1 in that case. Is that a sane behavior? Eh, I mean, if they want to run a miner and they're saying like don't use any memory or no processors, then like it's kind of on them. I mean, that's like a dumb setting anyway. Uh, but users are gonna select weird settings sometimes because sometimes they're kind of crazy. So what's the max cores I want to use? Okay, what's the max memory I'm gonna let it use? I'll let it use up to 15 gigs. Okay. If I do that and then I start, it's gonna let me run up to 3 workers. Hmm. There's a little bit of tweaking with the number of workers that I need to impose. The place where that happens is at the moment that we start. I mean, oh, this is the configuration one. It's that's in GMC pawn. Um, Yeah, so when we do start stop, that's another thing. The start button is going to become also a stop button, but we don't we don't need the feature yet. So people just turn it off, so it doesn't really matter yet. Um, what we do is we go through and count. We do a calculation to figure out um, what the appropriate balance is based on how much memory and processing power they've got, and then we give them a recommendation number. We're a little bit too conservative right now, uh, which will I will tweak the way that this calculation comes out. Um, but that's for a little bit later. Right now, what happened? So what you just saw in this video is I just fixed two runtime bugs that are insta crashes, which relate to the problem when people put crazy values in here that don't fit. Ooh, what if I put a word in here like elephant? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it just okay, cool. It just kills it to zero, and which is I should probably set that to like whatever the default is, but I'll do that later. Right now, what I'm really interested in doing is making sure that we don't have any insta crashes when people click the configure button because they know they have a crazy value and they want to reset it, and then it just like it dies. Um, and the whole thing crashes. And because it crashes, uh, and people that don't know like the internal stuff about Gajumine, they're not going to be able to go reset the value inside of the configuration file, right? And they don't want to learn how to do that because that's a stupid thing to like spend time on. What should happen is if the configured values are stupid or crazy, then fine. It should just like the program shouldn't crash because of dumb values. It should just, do what we have now, which is we can zero that out, we can zero that out. Then if we open it again, we just get zeros. It's okay. If I put like blah blah and ooh, that was loud. Blah blee. If I put that in there, okay, they're just zeros. It's fine. So that's a fix. So what's going to happen now is another little update, which is I'm going to version uh, increase the patch number. Oh, whoop. Hmm? Oh, I'm not in the right directory. Okay, so we're at 2.2 now, and that'll be fine. I think this is a wacky environment where I'm like live editing, and then I'm gonna push this back to the repo and then do a package rebuild and do a release. But just the reason I'm doing this here on Windows is because in this like wacky environment where I'm editing from a Linux VM, but I'm editing inside of a Windows image and then I'm running it in Windows, is because I want to make sure I'm fully recreating the Windows environment. Um, because the Windows environment that we had previously was kind of crazy and was missing a bunch of stuff was just wacky the way that it was put together and needed to be fixed. That's why I did the installer the way that I did to make it actually fix a bunch of path problems that old installers from other programs were leaving all trashy and messed up for users. Um, we needed to go ahead and fix that for people because a lot of people are using older systems that they put to the side trying to run Gajumine, and then some weird thing happens, and sometimes it's because of this old trash in the user path. So anyway, um, I want to recreate that fully so that I'm not guessing whether or not something's a problem. So that anyway, that's why I'm editing in this kind of weird environment. Anyway, that should actually show now. Look, version 2.2, yay. All right, it did work. Now, another thing I want to do. This is Gajumine, right? So OCPR, Gaju Desk. I want to get in there and uh, Gaju Desk has kind of a lot of code. Um, the GUI for Gaju Desk. I want to show, where's the frame thing? Gaju Desk. Okay, so what I want to do with this is put the version. And version is going to be a function. Actually, I've got that in here on Gaju Mine. GUI has an example of it that I'm going to just straight copy. Um, look at that app name version. Where did I get version from? Prop list. Get. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So what I need over here, because I've already got Gajudesk written out, mm, version. Okay. So make sure I've got all my stuff closed. Boom, boom. Yes, I do. Okay, so that should run, and that should also now. Whoa, I don't want to see myself. Um, Gajudesk should show its version number in the head. It does. Beautiful. Boo. Except that's supposed to be 6.4. Maybe I didn't increment. Maybe I didn't increment the Oh no, it is. Look at that, 6.3. But I'm in a 6.4 directory, which means that I did not correctly bump the version number up, but I'm going to do that now anyway. So for a patch, that'll just be the first little patch there. 6.3 to 6.4. I thought I was on 6.4. This is patches. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what that means. What that means is, I packaged and pushed, and then I didn't update the repo. So I need to repull. I need to go get that version, um, push it back to the so Zomph basically is serving one patch version ahead of what's in master in the repo, and that's something I need to go fix, and then pull that back here, and then reapply the change that I just did, and we'll all be happy. So anyway, um, if you're curious about kind of like how the process of fixing things goes, it's something like this. Usually I look at log files, I see what problems happened. A lot of you guys have been awesome and uh, sent me log files or screenshots or whatever of what's broken. And 90% of the time, from whatever that is, I can go in and figure out what was wrong. The really hard to fix stuff are things like um, a Mac OS version that's written, a binary that we sent out for Mac OS, and then it's actually for it was built for the Intel architecture, which they switched away from now. And somebody runs it on an M4, and it works on an M4 if they have a Rosetta installed, but then this other user doesn't, and we don't have visibility on that, and so like, well, we don't know why something didn't work. The solution to that is that we're going to make two different builds, one for Intel Mac and one for ARM, and that'll solve that problem. But it was very confusing at first because we weren't even aware that was an issue that we were having at the outset. Other problems like the Windows path problems, our path couldn't be added on because there were trash paths in front of it for just miles of extra stuff. And Windows, different components of Windows have different limits. Some are like a character length limit, and then other ones are like a total a path segment count limits, and different things handle things different ways. And then there's the virus problem that we had completely not even thought about. All these things, those are the confusing, like hard to figure out platformy details um, that suck. Once we're actually in our preferred execution environment inside of the airline runtime, and we have a problem in our airline code, that stuff we can usually identify and fix right away. So that's what I just did here. There were two crash bugs that were related to if the user had blanked out the values or put crazy values into um, the max processor count or the max memory that they were going to let Gajuman run with, then the next time they open Gajuman, it could just crash right away. Or when they click the configuration button to like to fix that, it would just die. So those are two insta crashes that we were having. Uh, Relatively trivial to fix. I just fixed them here. Um, so I'll get those pushed out. But I just want to make a video to like let you sort of see what one of those fixes looks like. So that's all I got. I will talk with you later.